it's not just money that we manage. It in itself really doesn't matter, right? Like, what is money? Money is just a tool. Money is how we take care of what matters. So what matters to you? And so that's really our focus in our firm, is really bringing that power of, hey, let's build a plan and a process around what matters, and the rest is figure outable.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Power in the Pause podcast. How are you guys doing today? I am your host, Wendy Page Sterling, and I am here with a new dear friend, Kaitlyn Laney. Please help me by welcoming her to the show. Hello, Kaitlyn. How are you?
I'm so excited to be with you by this cozy fire.
I know.
It's amazing.
Isn't this so fun?
Yeah.
This is so great. So I'm excited. For a minute I met you, I was so excited to keep talking to you. And I'm really looking forward to the audience hearing about not just your own personal story, but also how it is that you found your own power in the pause and how that inspires you in the work that you do today.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. So yes, my name is Kaitlyn Laney. I'm with Trek Wealth in Scottsdale. So I'm a certified financial planner, and I own a small planning firm. And originally I worked for these, big firms, Vanguard, Fidelity. I had phenomenal training, some amazing mentors, and I'm so grateful for that time. But what ended up happening for me is I was working, and I think a lot of people can relate to this, is, when you're in your 20s, you're in this hustle mode, you're trying to prove yourself, and I can do it in a man's world. And I ended up working for 5 years in jobs I didn't really want, to get to a job I ended up hating. And so I worked my tail off for 5 years, and I finally made it to this VP title in my late 20s. And I was the youngest on the desk. I was one of the only women on the floor, and I was crushing it, and I hated my life. And I remember looking in the mirror, and I just had this come to Jesus moment with myself. I was like, I am meant for more. And I really had to take a step back and pause and reflect and figure out, what do I really want? And is this setting myself up to be the best wife and mom and advisor / friend, because I want to be friends with my clients, that I can be? And the answer was no. And it was absolutely crushing. And it took me a bit to really grapple with that of, okay, what now? And I think sometimes if we go to the next and the next and the next, we start making decisions too quickly that lead us down a path that's not serving us. And it's so important to pause, breathe, reflect, and really analyze. And a mentor of mine said it best, is sometimes we have to slow down so we can speed up.
Absolutely. And that's exactly what I say, is everyone wants to know what the shortcut is. And with that comes this energy of speed. But what is ultimately going to speed you up is that slow down. And I want to highlight something that you said, because I think it is so incredibly important. I think it is so relatable to so many people that are listening right now. And that is, you had all the accolades, you had the title, you had the salary, I'm sure, right? You had the husband, you had the 2.2 kids, on paper, life was great. But when you really thought about it and you really went inside, you were unhappy, you were unfulfilled in other ways. And I can totally relate to that story, because literally that was me almost a decade ago when I was in corporate. Same thing, 20-year career, building multi-million-dollar regions. I was making a ton of money, and on paper, everything looked beautiful. And it really takes a strong woman to really take that pause and assess what it is that they want from life, what is really important. And I think that a lot of us have a hard time walking away from the life that, we feel obligated to see through, because we've invested so much of ourselves and so
100%.
much time, right?
Yeah, it's the Disney line ride,
Yes.
Oh, well, we've stayed in line for Indiana Jones for this long.
Yes.
I know it's going to be fixed soon. I just know it's going to start. We should just stay in line.
Right.
But what the research actually tells us, and Harvard has done many studies on this, is women who cut their losses early are far happier in life. So if things aren't serving you, really taking the time to analyze what is not serving you and moving on from that and letting go, and knowing that that was a great moment in time and a great season. But if it's no longer serving you, moving on from that, because holding on to it is really going to take you away from what you're meant to do.
Yeah. And I think that you are such a beautiful example of what is possible on the other side, right? Like you left the comfort of a big firm and you went out and you started your own business and you're extremely successful. Talk to me a little bit about like what was that transition like for you? Because I feel like a lot of times I like to be very candid and honest and transparent with my audience about like, yeah, it was really hard. I had days I cried, I had this, that, and the other. So I'd love for you to just share a little bit about like, what was that transition experience like for you? And clearly, where you are today I'm assuming made it all worth it, but share a little bit about that experience in that transition.
Yeah. So in 2018, I left a VP title. I left a massive book of business because I couldn't take it with me. I didn't own it. It was owned by the corporate gurus, right? And I needed to start over and build my financial practice from scratch. And my husband and I were like 10 months married. We had just bought this $650,000 house. And I turned to Max and I said, the $50,000 we have saved that we were going to use to remodel that kitchen, which is still not done, by the way. I'm going to need every penny of that to start my practice. And he goes, really? I said, yeah. And I needed every single penny of that money plus a little bit more. And so the reality is when you start, it's a flywheel. It just takes forever. And so my days were spent on LinkedIn, reaching out to clients. My nights were spent at networking events. I think Max and I had maybe one dinner a week together. And so that takes a strong husband, right? Like your wife is out with mingling with other men at dinner and like, what's happening? Where is she? Why is she not home? And I am so grateful that my partner had faith in me that I was out hustling for about a year and a half. And we didn't have kids at the time, so that made it a little bit easier. But yeah, I was working all day and I didn't get home sometimes until 9, 10 o'clock at night. And it took about 12 months before I was able to feel like I could breathe. But I think one thing that helped me is I had a sticky note on my steering wheel driving into my office. I had this beautiful office in the mountains of Scottsdale. And I said, you are so good at what you do. You serve people. People need what you do. Keep going. And because I felt like, oh my God, is this going to work? Are we going to go bankrupt? I just wasted all of our savings. What are we going to do? And so I think that fear creeps in, and fear is such a thief of joy. And I kept comparing myself to other advisors who were ahead of me or doing more. And I just had to remember that I'm building something brand new and that's going to serve people. And once the word gets out there on what my firm is able to do, it's going to explode. And here we are 5 years later, and I couldn't be more thrilled. But I don't want to lie to anyone. There was a lot of nights where I'm like, oh my gosh, what did I do?
Well, and that's the truth of it, right? And at the same time, your vision and your dream was so much bigger. And that's what ultimately I'm hearing drove you and kept you focused and motivated. Because you wanted it that bad, right? It was something that you were really passionate about.
And how many times have you called your financial advisor at Ed Jones or Fidelity or one of these big firms and they're like, oh, well, you're going to need to talk to your tax advisor.
All the time.
So, all the time. And even though we know the answer,
Right.
It's simple. It's not even a tax answer. It's a strategy answer. Right. And it just really made me feel like the advice that I was able to give in corporate America was too vague to be actionable. It wasn't meaningful. And when you're dealing with somebody's life savings, somebody's legacy, these details really matter. And if I have the knowledge, I need to be able to share that and help people, empower people. And now that I own it, I make the rules. I get to do that.
You're your own boss.
It's great.
It's the best thing.
It's the best.
Right?
Yeah.
So share a little bit about what makes your practice, like the work that you do, different. Because even though we just met yesterday, I went deep on your social media and in your website because you really struck me as someone who you are a disruptor is what I will call you in the best way possible. So I'd love for you to share a little bit about how it is that you approach your clients' portfolios or just finances in general, like ways that you got me thinking about things that I was like, oh, I've never thought about this before. So what would you say to somebody that, makes you different and is maybe something people haven't heard before?
I felt like there was a missing link in the mass affluent space. So people with 25, $30 million, dollars, they have access to a family office. But people with less than that, they have a lot of the same problems, tax problems, but they don't have a team to help them. And so I found that a lot of my clients were stuck in the middle trying to navigate the conversations with their estate planning attorney, with their CPA, with their advisor, with their property and casualty. And so one of my clients at Fidelity, he got into a car accident. He was looking left, he turned right, he hit a bicycle. The guy survived, but it was not great. And my client did not have an umbrella policy. And the guy sued him for $1.2 million. And he was covered for 100, 300 through State Farm, which means if you hit one person, you're covered for 100,000. If you hit multiple people, you're covered up to 300,000. So his insurance covered $100,000 of that $1.1 million deal. And while he was able to keep his IRA and retirement money, he had to sell his house. And that was the moment when I was at Fidelity where I was like, okay, I need to be people's personal CFOs. I need to understand, what is your property and casualty insurance? I don't sell property and casualty, but I know what you need. I know that you need a $2 million umbrella because you have this $2 million house in Scottsdale. And so I think there was a need for a more comprehensive personal CFO approach. So I designed a plan that would look at asset protection, insurance protection, income protection, retirement assets, and legacy, estate planning, and taxes. And so my specialty is tax mitigation and legacy planning because my father passed away. So it's, obviously I've been on that side of the table. And so that's where I really wanted to design a full service firm that would handle all of those uncompensated tasks that other advisors don't want to handle. Because even though I'm not compensated for an umbrella policy, how important is it to have when you need it? So that was really
you don't want to find out that you need it after the fact.
Yeah. So that the premise really was, you never see the truck that hits you. It's always a blind spot. So how can my firm come in and shine a light on your blind spots? And that was really how we designed our entire process.
That's amazing. It truly is. And I think, there's something that you talk about too that struck out to me that I'd love for you to share a little bit about too, is you have this concept of, creating a bucket list life. And I mean, it gives me chills. I love that. I'd love for you to talk a little bit more about like, what is that? And I mean, clearly I want that. So how do we do this?
I think, many times, but especially men, we're so focused on saving for the future. We need to save for retirement. We need to save for retirement. But you don't want to miss the now. There's power in the now. My father died at 62. My brother-in-law just passed away last year at 61. The reality that we're planning to live to be 95, I mean, there's a 20% chance you'll live to be 95. Yes, we want to take care of your future, but can we live for today and take care of your future? And unless you sit down with a financial advisor that can stress test your plan, a lot of people don't even know what's possible. And I think that's the conversation is, why wait till retirement to go on that vacation to Europe? Why are you waiting to do this? Why are you waiting to do that? Oh, well, we don't have the money, or we don't want to run out of money is usually the conversation.
Don't you find that people are afraid that they're going to outlive their money?
Yep.
So
people are so afraid of outliving their money that they're forgetting to enjoy today. And by the time they're 75 and 80, you can't do the trip to Australia. I had a client, Stan, bless his heart. We've been planning this trip to Australia for years. I said, Stan, you really got to go. You just got to go. We have the money. Just go. Fly first class. Do it. And he didn't, and he passed away 2 years ago. So now I work with his wife, of course. But those things stick with me because these people are my friends. These people are family. It's not just money that we manage. And money in itself really doesn't matter, right? Like, what is money? Money is just a tool. Money is how we take care of what matters. So what matters to you? And so that's what we really focus our plans around is, for me, what matters is a kitchen remodel. I have been saving for this massive kitchen remodel for 6 years, but then of course other things pop up, right?
Sure.
Other priorities, life happens. I had 2 babies and so, I laugh because it's, I started this firm now 5 years ago in 2018. So a little bit more maybe. The money I used to seed it with was supposed to be this big kitchen remodel. And do I want a kitchen remodel? Yeah. But do I wake up every morning like bummed that I don't have one? No, of course not. And so that's really the conversation is, could we have had this beautiful kitchen and countertops sooner? Of course. But I wanted to take my kids to Disneyland. I wanted to give them these experiences. I want to be able to take a month in Denver. And so that's really our focus in our firm is really bringing that power of, hey, let's build a plan and a process around what matters, and the rest is figure outable.
I love that. The rest is figure outable.
Yep, my mantra.
So tell me, what would you say to somebody who's, let's say they're listening to this podcast and they're like, God, that sounds so amazing. I really want that. Either I don't know how to get there, or maybe I don't have enough money to create something like that, or I don't have enough where I feel like that's a possibility for me. What would you say to somebody who is sort of in this place of, pondering, is this something that I can see myself creating and having this bucket list life, or, like talk them off a ledge if they're on one right now?
A really powerful exercise is to focus on what you want. Is it a new car? Is it being able to take your kids to Hawaii? Is it to go to Europe? And print a picture of that deal off the website somewhere, off the internet, and put it in your office by your computer. So you stare past your computer screen every day and then make it your password. Italy 2026.
I love that.
Every day when you log into your work computer, Italy 2026. So you're constantly manifesting. You're constantly thinking about, okay. And when we think about what we want, every decision flows from that. There's a great Bible verse that says, protect your heart, for everything we do flows from it. And so if we're thinking about the fear and the anxiety and the overwhelm, that's what's flowing from our heart. Those are the actions we're putting out into the world, right? But if we're focused on, I can't wait to take my family to Italy and we're going to make this happen. And I don't know how yet. And the pieces haven't quite fallen into place, but we're going to make this happen and we're going to start saving. You're going to start making decisions that are aligned with that. And so that would be a really easy hack to start shifting your mindset and changing your mindset to a world of this is possible.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, I spend so much time with my clients just really focusing in on what is that vision, right? And make it so tangible that it creates what I'm hearing you say is it creates a sensation inside of your body that is it becomes non-negotiable. It becomes, similar to you wanting to leave, starting your own business. Like it becomes this, yes, it's a destination, but really what it is, it's a feeling of how you want to be every single day, whether it's a trip to Italy, whether it's, branching out and becoming an entrepreneur and starting your dream business. I feel like we stay too present in the fear and really in disappointment or thinking that you're not going to achieve. And one of my favorite things that I say to my clients is, when have you not achieved something? Where's that evidence? Because I would bet that it doesn't exist.
The common phrase I hear is, well, there's not enough money.
Yes, always.
Always. Well, there's not enough money. Like I don't have and that's the common thing. It's like, well, it's not like I have money to burn. So where's this money going to come from? I'm like, well, you tell me. Have you ever had a problem making money before? Well, no. So where is that coming from? It's a lie that we tell ourselves. It's there. We just have to find it. And do you want to dig deep and do the work? Or do you want to be stuck in the same patterns of your life? And look, it's easier said than done, right? Like it takes time. And having somebody like you is so crucial because look at the Olympic athletes of the world. We all need coaches. Nobody gets to where they want to go in life alone. We don't. We need a board of directors around us, helping us, guiding us, and being a sounding board to really help lift us up. And, if you look at the Olympic athletes, they have a mental coach, they have a nutritious coach, they have an athletic coach, they have a sleep coach sometimes. And so if we took that same process and applied it to like our day-to-day lives, it's like, gosh, why aren't I reaching out to somebody like you to help me really take my life to the next level if that's what I want? Because what got me here won't get me there.
Oh, never. And you do the same thing. Like, I feel like one of the things that impressed me so much about you is that, yes, you're a certified financial planner, but you think about the bigger picture. Like, you have knowledge and expertise in all of these other areas that make you a very well-rounded person that someone would want to take advice from, for somebody that would want to, to instill their trust in. And, I think that that's one of the hardest things, especially as women, that we have a hard time doing, especially when it comes to money, is trusting ourselves and trusting that we know how to make people say enough, but money's abundant, and money is something that we can all create at any given time. It's just a matter of, like you said, it's a tool. And so part of it is shifting our energetics. It's shifting our mindset around our relationship to money. And, I talk about this all the time too. I mean, I hosted a class. It was all about rewriting your money story, because if it's not serving you, then change it. I mean, you have the power to change it. And, one of my coaches said to me, she's like, you're winning at the game you're playing. So if you want to play a different game, change it, because you'll win at it. And so with that, I would love to just ask you to share one final piece to kind of wrap up our conversation today that maybe you want to share with our viewers as they've been eavesdropping on our amazing conversation today.
Oh, I just love you. And thank you for having me on your show. And, I would say, if you're feeling stuck and you're feeling overwhelmed, you're not alone, but those are disempowering words. So the first step would be to get yourself unstuck. And something that I do often is, in my family, we don't do overwhelm. And Marie Folio is a business coach that talks a lot about that. Her book was really powerful to me too. So, that would be, one piece of advice is, as women, we have so much on our plates as wives, as moms, as working women, as trying to be all things to all people. And so really going back to, what do you want? Not what does your husband want, not what your kids want, but what do you want? Because oftentimes we're feeling overwhelmed because we're not serving ourselves first. And so that would be my call to action to your listeners, would be to really focus on, start making decisions from a place of, every decision you make should be forwarding the goal toward your best life. And it's that oxygen mask. Once you're living your best life, everything else is going to fall into place. I promise you. Trust the process and work with a coach that can really help you along the way.
I love that. Kaitlyn, thank you so much for being here today. I absolutely love you so much. And I would love for you to be able to just share with our audience today, if they want to get in touch with you, where can they find you? Where's the best place?
Absolutely. So you're welcome to book a free consultation with me on our website. We work with clients all over the country via Zoom, and you can go to mytrekwealth.com and you can book a call with me right on the Scottsdale location page for my office.
Amazing. Kaitlyn, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you, Wendy.
Great
to see you.
You too. You guys, thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. You know that with every single guest that I have on my show, my goal is to help each and every one of you find your own power in the pause. I hope that you enjoyed our conversation today. Don't forget to hit subscribe so that you do not miss a single episode that comes out every single week. And it would be amazing if you would also leave me a 5-star rating as well as a review. Thank you guys again. I will see you in the next episode. Sending you all so much love and light always. Mwah. Bye, everybody.